Alright, I've had a couple questions about the wooden spoons that I make and sell at the craft shows. They've turned out to be my top seller because I sell them for 10 bucks a piece, and people that can't maybe afford to buy a string instrument will often walk out with one or two of these spoons, and I usually sell out at the craft shows. So when I first started making them, I used a regular tablespoon from the kitchen as a pattern, and I made a little thin wooden pattern, and should be about 1 3/4 inch across at the wide part of the spoon, and about a 1/2 inch across at the shaft. And then I will lay the pattern down on a 1.5 inch wide by 3/4 inch wide wood. I've used just about any kind of wood that I had laying around: cherry, mahogany, walnut, maple. And then I usually use a Sharpie to mark it because it's a lot easier to see the lines on the bandsaw. So then I mark the outline with the Sharpie. Comes out looking like that. So then I simply cut the outline out right on the Sharpie line. And after all the sides are done, come out with a rough cut piece like that. The next step is I will draw a line down the center, and I don't usually measure. I just kind of find the center and draw a line all the way to the part that you hold, and then I draw some cutouts there. The purpose of the cutouts is to thin this portion out so that it's a little bit more flexible and the spoon will flap around a bit. So that's the next thing I do, is cut the center line out. And cut out the cutouts to thin it out. Alright, and the next step, what you want to do is make this, thin this out enough so you have a nice gap in the clapping part of the spoon. And the way I normally do that is with the belt sander, and the belt sander I also use to bring the parts that the bandsaw didn't get down to the line. Thin out the clapper part of it. And that's not thinned out quite enough because I like the gap to be about like that. And also I'll use the belt sander to thin this portion out so it gets a nice flexibility to it. But even in this state, it's a playable pair of spoons. But then you can sand it to whatever degree of smoothness you like. Usually I try to get them nice and smooth and put a finish of linseed oil or shellac on it. And this is one of my finished sets of spoons here. And you can see the gap there is about, well, it's less than 1/8 of an inch, but it's just what I feel is wide enough to make a nice slapping sound. And you can adjust the flexibility of them by thinning this out gradually until they become nice and playable. And I've played some other people's spoons, and they're hard. You got to really bang on them to get a clappy sound. But with mine, you can play them nice and light. Nice light touch in the fingers. Hope that helps somebody.